Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Raul Falla.
And Raul Falla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello everybody and welcome along to Formula Renault 3.5 on Apex Racing TV. This is round number 4 and we head from one continent to another. Last week we're in Europe. This week we are at Canada, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. A track which is very, very tight corners and a chance for some great overtaking opportunities. We got myself, Jessica Ball, in the commentary box. We got Marco on the cameras, and joining me this week is Chan Wei Han. Welcome back. How you doing?
Jessica, great to be back once again, and I think I'm really very excited to see how the cars will make their way around what is a really unique track known as Montreal Circuit.
Yes.
Because this is. So I was just gonna say this is one of those places where Formula 1 drivers go to a lot. There's a wall of champions, and of course the curbs will be a great challenge for the drivers here tonight.
Yes, the curbs did provide an issue last week, including turn 4 and 5, the sausage curb. So I will not be surprised if we see something similar tonight. It is 4.35 kilometers and we have 14 turns, of course. And we're seeing 4 people that got times on the board. This is an 8-minute qualifying session. Expect times to be in the times we're seeing now, 122s, maybe 121s if we're lucky as well. If you missed last week's race, this was the first time the drivers were at the Red Bull Ring, and we saw James Pinsker take his first win of the season, beating out Robert Tartan by 5.2 seconds. And he was quite happy with that win, actually, and he was able to be ahead of his championship rivals, including Edward Sambrowski, who only finished in 8th position. So I wonder if James has got another win in him, or is he hoping to just become consistent?
Sure, I think we've seen James performing very well over the past few races, the first 3 races in total. But it would seem like we do have Tim Delisle here, and I think he's going to probably give Pinsker a run for his money. So I think it's going to be quite a hard call, especially also because this track that we're coming to is very different from the first 3 racetracks that we've visited.
Yeah, because we visited Hockenheim as the first track. We also was visiting, obviously, Austria as well and Road America. So we were in every single continent. We've been in twice in Europe and obviously twice in North America. So it's great to see the different varieties as we've seen quite a few spinners heading towards the final corner. Not the usual Wall of Champions that you would expect. It is another side of the corner where someone's binned it as well. And we're seeing Delisle on fastest, 1:22.0. Pinsker second, 2 tenths behind him. Then we got Schiff as well in third. Not a bad lap from him as well. We saw some great battles with him last week as well. So there was a few people that were unlucky, but this is a track where you can't make too many mistakes compared to last week. It's a track that's been on the iRacing calendar for quite some time. Where we were last season in Canada, there was quite a few incidents. So hopefully we won't see the same here as well. Tarleton had just set a personal best of 1:22.3. We're also seeing Benjamin Bartow, who set a 1:22.8, who's come across the line in P7. So he was managing to improve and be a few tenths quicker than Paul Ilbrink, who is in 8th position. Let's hope he has a better race this time around compared to last week. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Very hard to predict on who's going to win because we've had quite a few different situations where we've had, obviously, Eddie won the first race and we had James win in the round 3. So, you know, anything could happen tonight.
Oh, it sure is. So, of course, we do have Delisle in the provisional pole position. He set a very fast lap time. And, of course, Pinsker will have to go faster by 0.2 of a second if he wants a shot at starting from pole. But, of course, I think most of the drivers have already completed their qualifying lap times. We're now with the remaining few drivers. This is Jaden Laddick, who is going to come across the final chicane, avoiding... Oh, as we just said, that I think he clipped the curb there.
Yes, the infamous Wall of Champions there. What a shame for Jaden there as well. He actually had a good result last week. He finished in 4th position, just 1 position shy of a podium. And he was, I think, 2 seconds behind Tom Wedgwood, who actually pipped into the post there as well. And it was great to see the battle between those two as well. And Benjamin also had a good result last week as well in 5th position. Greg finished in 6th. Philip finished in 7th, but I think he could have been higher if he didn't get caught up in some of the incidents early on in the race. Oh, and that was interesting to see from that car. I was just trying to see who that was. That was Preshnader, actually, who's had a bit of another clip on the Wall of Champions. I don't believe he set a time yet. So, and Herbie now, who won the race in round 2, he also hasn't set a lap time. So, and it's only around about 1 minute to go until qualifying finishes, so they haven't got a lot of time, and for some people they ran out of laps, so they may have to start from the back of the grid.
So this is going to be Pinsker coming around the final chicane also. Oh no, that's not a final chicane, it looks like that. Rather, he's going to come around the hairpin. I think the camera angles there. Yeah, the chicanes here, they look very similar. But of course, every corner is quite unique here. So this is him going on a charge down the backstretch. I imagine there would be DRS in the qualifying sessions as well. So a top speed run. His time to beat will be 1:22.04. Because his best lap time is only is 2 tenths ahead. So we'll have a look as he comes across the final chicane. He does not, unfortunately. Is he going to best his lap time? He's going to make his way around the start-finish line. And it would appear that he does indeed best his lap time by a fair bit, but that wasn't enough to bring him up to the pole position.
And that is qualifying done then for round 4 of the championship. And then once again, we have a different pole sitter of Tim Delisle, the Australian 2/10 clear of James Pinsker in second place. We've got Philip Schiff in third, Robert Tarleton in fourth position, Pavel in fifth place, Greg Olson in sixth, Benjamin in seventh position. We've got Paul Ilbrink in eighth, Jaden Laddick in ninth, Dennis Furchheim in 10th position. We got Matthias in 11th, Tom Redwood is in 12th position. We got Yuki in 13th, Dennis in 14th, Oliver in 15th, Cedric in 16th, Christoph in 17th, and we got Presnader in 18th position. Those two did not set lap times, and they'll be at the back of the grid. What a shame there, but we saw Presnader climb his way up the field last week, so I don't think it should be too much of a problem. Let's hope I haven't jinxed him there, but yes, I'm very impressed with the top 10, separated by just under a second, Chan.
It most certainly is. So it is probably going to be a very, very close battle. Now, of course, throughout the race, we will be able to also evaluate the pace of the drivers based on their lap times that they will set each lap. And I think we'll have a better picture of how they compare with one another. So as the drivers begin to grid, we remind ourselves that this is, in fact, a standing start, because sometimes there are also rolling starts in iRacing. So as the drivers begin to grid, we can kind of, we can predict who's going to take the race win at this point, I guess.
Oh, we don't have long to predict, but I think James is going to get a second win. I think he's usually about his starts, but we'll find out as we're about to get underway here in Montreal. The 5 red lights are coming on. And we are underway, and it's actually a pretty decent start from Tim Delisle. And there's a bit of a flip. Whoa, a huge flip in turn 1. Hopefully not many people got caught up in that. I think that was Robert Tarleton that was the biggest hitter there as well. But yeah, decent start from Delisle, decent start from Pinsker. And there was an incident, I think, heading towards turn 3 as well, so not very good. But the top 2 are already pulling away from the rest of the field. Greg Olson is in 3rd position. Paul actually moved up into 5th position. We've got Yuki, who's had a good start, tried to avoid the contact, up into 9th place as well. So that was an interesting start, to say the least, but not good news for Robert Tarleton, who did a fantastic job last week to get a podium.
So it's quite a dramatic start indeed, but of course I think most of the drivers have still managed to retain their positions. Delisle and Pinsker hold on to 1 and 2 respectively, whereas the other drivers from 3rd onwards, they've more or less gained a couple of positions as a result of that race start incident. So already this early on in the race, we are going to probably see a bit of slipstream battling between Pinsker and Delisle. So Pinsker is kind of thought of taking the inside line, but of course they are still quite spread out at this point. So I think Pinsker will need some time before he can think of moves on Delisle. And this is Laddick. He's going into the pits. I think he might have been tangled sometime earlier on in the race, and he's now going for his stop. So we observe Pinsker as he takes a tighter line through the exit of the first chicane. Delisle went for the slightly wider line, so I think he can have quite a few racing line options through that part.
Okay, so we're seeing the replay of what happened at the start, I believe. Yes, we're riding on board with Robert. So we got a decent start originally, but yeah, we just got clipped in the back, I think, and he just went into the pit exit and clipped the cone with him. So what a shame for him, but I would say the main place to get the tow, I think it's around here, heading towards near the bridge coming up here as well. That is the place where slipstream, I think, is very, very important, and also towards turn 10 as well, where we can see that as well. So let's see what's happening from a helicopter view then, from Robert Tarleton's view. So, or did he actually try to go for a move and then the other car did not see him? We don't know, but yeah, I think that is Robert. Maybe out of the race depending on damage, but don't forget, these drivers do not have to make pit stops in this race, so any pit stops due to damage will cost them a huge amount of time.
I think that driver might have gotten an additional penalty for unsafe entry into pits.
Oh.
Leaping the wall. This is Tim Delisle, your current race leader, and we're having a look at some of the other battles that are going on. This is wheel-to-wheel action between Presnader and possibly a couple of other drivers around here. So this is Presley that unfortunately come around an incident. So this is him. He's gone around. I think he's made a mistake as he entered the first corner, and this is him tangling with Autorola. So they all lose a few positions. Presnader involved as well.
Yeah, that's not good for him, of course. He had a pretty good getaway, because don't forget he was near the back of the grid at the start for the Inter qualifying time. He's usually known for its good start, so I don't think I should say anything more. I'm really, really sorry. But now we're following the battle between Paul Ilbrink in 5th position, and we've also got Vasilev in 4th, and we've got Benjamin in 6th position, heading towards turn 10, the hairpin. This is the back straight where a lot of people can get plenty of good slipstream, and so that's what people have benefited in the race so far. So I think it's good for Paul to stay as close to Vasilev as you can, but some people may complain about the dirty air, so it is hard to judge at times as we head towards the final few corners, the curves, the dangerous curves as I like to call it, but they manage to do it all right then. So let's see if Paul can actually get the move done heading towards turn 1, or would he want to stay back to try and get him on the next lap. He takes a very tight entry, but he does it very well and stays behind. But there are some times where you have to end your battles and just wait until the right time comes before you can actually get that move. Speaking of the front, the top two pretty much staying in close proximity, 9/10 of a second between Delisle and Pinsker. So doing a pretty good job, and it'll be Tim's. To be honest, if Tim actually gets the win, I believe it will be the 4th different race winner of the season.
That's going to be fantastic if that would be the case. So I think Delisle will be hard-pressed to defend his position, and this is Greg Olson, his fellow countryman, both of them from Australia. Greg Olson in 3rd, although he is more than 2 seconds behind Pinsker, so I think that's quite a fair bit of a gap that he will have to close up throughout the race. So they're now onto the backstretch once again, and I think it's been quite a smooth sailing race, at least for the guys up front thus far. And we now have a look at the race from Pavel Vasilev, and you can just see the little bit of the DRS kind of come into effect, a bit of mechanism inside there in the rear wing. So Vasilev is in 4th. He sits 1.25 seconds behind Greg Olson, but he has a lot of pressure from Paul Ilbrink. So you can see that Paul Ilbrink kind of made a very deep entry into turn 1. It could be due to the dirty air that he faced, but he does manage to hold his space very well.
Yes, he's doing quite well, and usually consistency is key around this track. You don't necessarily have to be quick, but you have to be consistent in every lap, because it's all well you're having good 1 lap pace around this track. If you don't produce consistent laps, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and there's going to be a lot of guys behind you that's going to gain quite massively and maybe get the overtake, as I found out on this track quite a few times in other sims. So we're already 8 minutes into this qualifying session, and we've already got battles everywhere you look right now. We can see a battle for Pavel and Paul once again, then heading towards turn 10. Can Paul have a look towards the hairpin here of turn 10, now heading towards turn 11. Look at this back straight. Will Paul be able to use some of his DRS, or will he just be forced to stay behind once again? Don't forget, we've got Benjamin in this battle as well. He could play a really good backseat battle. If any of these two make a mistake, he could possibly go for the move if any of those two make a tangle, which we do hope not, but they seem to be coping fine. Let's watch Paul's entry into turn 1 this time and see if he can close up the gap a little bit. And we're just watching Benjamin right on the back of this as well to see Paul's line. Paul's line looks a lot better than it was last lap. He was following a similar line to Pavel Vasilev there, so a lot better there as well. But the more that they're in this train, everyone else is just going to start closing in. Barter is around about a 10th almost behind the Paul Ilbrink and Pavel Vasilev. So should be an interesting battle for 4th place. Not quite the podium spots, but plenty of points still on offer.
So battle is feisty up front. It is very much indeed. We're now with Greg Olson again. He is kind of defending the podium, so to speak. What he is defending is a 3-second gap between himself and James Pinsker up front. So Now with James Pinsker, he is. I think the gap between Delisle and Pinsker has increased to 1.8 seconds, so it is quite a gap for both for Pinsker to have to work around. But both of them have quite a comfortable lead ahead of the rest of the field, in excess of 5 seconds. So that is going to be to the advantage of Delisle and Pinsker as they come around for yet another lap around Montreal. I think we've yet to see any cars fall victim to the tall curbs, and let's see how Wedgwood and Vinsec make their way around the final chicane. Very nicely done there, and this is the battle for 11th place.
Not where you would expect Tom Wedgwood to be right now. He usually fights for the podium positions, but there's still a long way to go in this race, which usually lasts 40 minutes, and there's still plenty of opportunities for Tom to climb his way up the grid then, so it should be interesting there as well. But yeah, I'm seeing a replay right now, but the cameras are stoned for me at the moment, so I can't really see what's going on, but I'm sure there was something that happened. I think Tom slowed down a bit, I think, as well, which did not help, but at least he's still in a battle now. At least in a battle now with Finzak, so he's going to try and make do with what's put in front of him, of course. But look at this, Paul Lebrink right on the back of Vasilev now, and I wonder if Benjamin could try and squeeze past both of them. Probably not go 3-1 into the final few corners, that won't be good. So that's why Benjamin, I think, is just staying further back right now, just to have less dirty air as possible. So braking towards the final few corners. Again, nicely done. Paul almost just hits the wall there, but Benjamin's got some good slipstream there heading towards turn 1. This could be move done for Benjamin. No, not quite. Paul closes the door there. And don't forget, you can check our social media, subscribe to Apex Racing TV on YouTube, like that video the stream was on right now, and hit that notification bell to be notified when we go live. You can also find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Apex Racing TV. Much lower latency, so it lines up with the SDK live timing, which we have for you guys in the chat. And of course, do follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. All those usernames are just Apex Racing TV, where you can find out which streams are live. When we had IGP Front, which was on today due to the fact that we have a match on tomorrow, and I know our cameraman will know who they want to win that one. I'm not too bothered who wins tomorrow. I just want a good match. But anyway, and points aside, here's Herbie now, who was the Road America race winner, right on the back of Yuki. This is an interesting battle that we've seen last week as well. Yuki was in for podium contention, but I think Christoph could get the best of him here with the toe that he luckily has. Yuki's not going to have the toe, unfortunately, heading towards the final corner. But Christoph gained a little bit on the corners there. This could be interesting as they make their way towards the next lap. As you can see, another car also in this battle as well. I think that's Kuka in a 10th position.
So certainly, Albino giving Shirakawa a run for his money. Of course, trying to put as much pressure as he can. So we have a good perspective of the battle here. So yes, the cars are not, say, very close together, but they are, in fact, you know, when you are in the cockpit, the cars are, the car in front is actually very close to you. So they're going ever closer than ever. The gap sits at just over 0.2 of a second. So any moment now where the opportunity presents itself, Albino may be able to make an overtaking move on Shirakawa. Certainly not into this chicane, taking this corner very nicely, but I think there'll be plenty of opportunities for overtaking to take place, especially along the backstretch. So we're now riding with Yuki. We were riding with Yuki, and this is Albino. He tried to go along the inside, tries to go along the inside. Does he make this work, or is this going to be a side-by-side drag race down the backstretch? It would possibly have been, but Shirakawa continues leading Albino down this backstretch. So this is now a slipstream game. Albino tried to make the overtaking move along the inside earlier on during the last lap. Is he going to make it work this time? Yes, he does! And Albino moves up a position into P8.
That was very, very good for Christoph there. He did what he needed to do, but you could see Yuki being under pressure once again. So I wonder if he's lacking pace right now, lacking rhythm at the moment, and maybe he's just struggling to find that consistency that the other drivers have been having. So Oliver, I think, doing a much better job then. Heading towards turn 4, Yuki manages to stay ahead, but I can definitely say that Oliver, I think, is definitely a lot faster last lap. 1:24.9 was Oliver's last lap. Yuki's last lap was a 1:25.8. So Oliver almost a second faster than Yuki right now. That's why he's a lot quicker, and that's why Christoph is pulling away from everybody. He's in the 1:23s, just like our top 7 as well. So we're already seeing a clear divide compared from the top quartile of the field compared to this mid-pack group, but it may depend on the fact if you're involved in battles or not, or if you just got some cleaner air. We'll have to wait and see, but we shall see what Yuki has to deal with. Yuki has got to have a miracle lap time in order to make sure he keeps Oliver behind, but it is quite difficult at times. But we're also seeing a battle once again. But P4 and Paul manages to get a send on the left-hand side up into 4th place past Pavel then. What about Benjamin? He's going to probably have a look. This race is getting a little bit more interesting. It was a lot quieter since the incident earlier on in lap 1, but I think these drivers are definitely turning it up a notch and definitely putting on a show. Still going side by side in towards turn 4 then. Paul managing to find a little bit more space, and he's probably going to take it easy just a little bit, but you never know. Pavel may try and catch up just a little bit to Paul Ilbrink, and we got Verchime that's also potentially going to be in his battle too. So let's see what he does. That could be very intriguing. My oh my, Paul, bravo, take a bow.
So it would appear to be that Paul Ilbrink will be the next one to contend for the podium position. Let's see if he's able to do it today. So next on the hit list for Ilbrink will be Greg Olson, who is 2 seconds ahead. He sits in 3rd place. Paul Ilbrink in 4th. So it is his turn, in fact, to lead this 3-way battle pack, which involves Barato and Vasilev behind him. And I think those drivers might also have their own battles later on in the race. So down along the backstretch, and this is where Barato will be able to take advantage of some of that slipstream. Of course, that's not including the fact that there might sometimes be dirty air. So Ilbrink makes his way around the final chicane, and so does the drivers behind him. Let's have a look at some of the other battles that might be shaping up. So this is Shirakawa. He's trying his best to hold off drivers who might be overtaking behind him. And in this case, it is Oliver Korka who is going to go for a move for 9th position. So Oli goes for the inside line. Is he able to go and clean this move off, or is Shirakawa going to take advantage of the line placement? I think he does that, and he's going to be able to hold off for now his race position. So they nearly go side by side to this chicane. Of course, it is going to be Oliver Korka who will have to try harder over the next corners.
Yeah, I think he does as well. I wonder what you would want to do in this situation. Would you be the one attacking or defending? But I'm sure Yuki would be wanting to be the one that's attacking at this point, because defending like that is never easy around this track, and Yuki is doing a very good job despite the fact that he is slower than Oliver behind as well. So I have to say, fair play. It's catching up to a driver is one thing, attacking them very well with people trying to defend is another. So we're seeing another battle heading towards the hairpin then, as we got Benjamin who is trying to have a battle with Paul now once again, side by side, heading towards the final corner. Paul just defends there from Benjamin there. Brilliant stuff from him. And we've got also Pavel in this as well. We've got Verchime. But you know, the train is growing and growing right now, and it's all because some people just can't get the move done. And I think Paul is in under much more pressure than he is ever before, as there was almost a bit of slide there coming from Verchime, I think it was, into turn 1, but at least he's still on the track and still managing to stay within this train, and I think they're producing similar lap times right now too, and it won't be that long maybe before Yuki or Oliver catches up as well. If Oliver actually gets past Yuki, I won't be surprised if he can go for a battle for P8 with Christoph Hebinel for that position. I won't be surprised if that happens, but I have to say, I thought it was comfortable for Paul to get P4, but it doesn't look that comfortable now with 3 or 4 cars chasing you for that position.
Yeah, certainly a lot of pressure that he does have to hold off. But of course, he was an ex-pro driver, so certainly this is nothing new for him. and I think he's doing a great job thus far. This is Ferkheim, who is kind of the driver at the back, or rather this 4-way battle pack that is shaping up from 4th to 7th place. I think give it some time, and I think this battle pack will be able to compress a little bit further over the next few laps. So we're now back with the race leader, who's kind of been undefeated all night long. He is now 3 seconds ahead of James Pinsker, so that is an increase from when we previously had checked in on Tim Delisle. So I think if he's able to continue on, I'm quite confident that he will have a chance in taking to be the first to take the checkered flag. But this is Greg Olson. I think possibly his teammate. He was in 3rd, and right now the gap between Olson and Ilbring sits at just around 2 seconds.
And look at Paul's set to tie. Well, lap time on lap 13, 7/10 quicker than Greg Olson. And I just have to say, we're getting a little bit of nostalgia moments with possibly Tim Delisle and Greg Olson on the podium. When was the last time we saw that at Formula Renault 3.5? If that happens, I'm probably going to be cry with happiness, I have to say. But obviously we remain in a partial, of course, but I can see that Paul is definitely on the pace right now. Obviously he got past the likes of Bell and Benjamin for 4th place, and now he's not that far from the podium. So I won't be surprised if he could get his first podium in a while. He was very, very close, obviously, last season quite a few times, and obviously this season as well. And Greg Olson responded to Paul Ilbrink's challenge by setting a 1:23.9, his personal best. Benjamin also set a personal best. Christoph also setting a personal best right now. So the drivers starting to find a little bit more of their feet now around this track. We're halfway into this race now, 22 minutes of this race done, and we've just got under 20 minutes of this race to go, give or take, depending on the lap time, of course. But I'm really excited to see how that unfolds, of course. We're seeing a similar situation to last week. Our race leader, who wasn't the race leader to start with, he actually dominated the rest of the race. So, you know, that's probably a trend. We almost saw the trend disappear in round 2, where we saw Pinsker and Herbinel actually battle for the race victory. But, you know, something could happen towards the end, but I'm sure James will be pretty happy with P2 anyway, because it's all about consistency for him as well. And obviously a lot of drivers have been ratting around here. Oh no, there was a contact there from Yuki, unfortunately into the hairpin. That was almost 3 wide. So let's see, we're riding on board with Yuki then, and we're just seeing what happened to cause that instance. So on the inside, that was almost 3 wide. Luckily that didn't go 3 wide, otherwise it would have been 2 or 3 cars having damage there. But that is dropping Yuki down into 13th place, and I hope that's not nope, he's actually going into the pits for damage repair. So what a shame for him. That could have been some great battles from him towards the end of the race, but he was just very, very unlucky there.
Certainly, that was an unfortunate incident for Shirakawa, who had otherwise fought very hard all race long to help get the best position that he could. Of course, that does kind of cede the position P9 to Oliver Korka, as well as 1 position up for all the drivers behind him. We're back with Greg Olson. He's now just under 2 seconds ahead of Paul Ilbrink, so I do think that Paul Ilbrink is probably closing in the gap a fair bit. So I think maybe over the next few moments we would hope to see some battling between Ilbrink and Olson. Of course, Barato is not going to let this go very lightly. He was ahead of Paul Ilbrink. Paul Ilbrink is now ahead, so I think Barato will also be out to campaign for 4th position again. As we have a look at how Barato is going to go for this move, he goes closer, inches closer to Paul Ilbrink, but I think that wasn't exactly close enough for any moves to take place. Into the first chicane and the first corner, they go. Greg Olson, of course, leads this segment of the field, but the action is where Paul Ilbrink is at.
I think we could see a 3-way fight for the podium. I think I remember in the first round we saw a 2-way fight for the podium. So it'll be great to see three cars definitely giving it their all, and Paul was in one of those fights in round one, so it's familiar territory for him. He's probably used to this as well. So I wonder if Benjamin's going to be giving it more of his all towards the end, because that's what we usually tend to see in Formula Renault 3.5. It's usually a quiet middle to the race, but in the end it starts to get a little bit more spicy, more battles happening, more risk, because you're definitely fighting for position, and some people take it a little bit more cautious in the middle of the race as well, because you don't want to be involved in instance. But then we got some other drivers who just want to give it their all the time and fight for as many positions as they can. And sometimes, if you like Paul, for example, getting some great moves into the final corner, you could make it work. And he's about 2 seconds behind Greg Olson at the moment, and it is not impossible for Paul to get that podium, and not impossible for Benjamin either. But I think with the dirty air, that's why you're starting to get the gap increased, unfortunately. But to be honest, I found with dirty air, if you're too close into the curb, that's when incidents happen. And it's, I think, very, very good for Benjamin to do that. But just wait until these type of corners where you can really give it your all here as well. And we should have to wait and see what happens. Gap increase once again from Dalal to Pinsker. It was 4 seconds just a moment ago. Now it's 4 seconds now. So definitely something to keep an eye on with the top two. But they're just running their own race, not in any battles. The main battle is happening behind them.
Indeed, so Paul Ilbrich still holding off Barreto very well this late into the race. The gap between them has increased to, or rather is staying around 0.8 of a second, but Paul has in fact slowly closed in his gap with Greg Olson, so I think he will probably do just as you said earlier on, to make use of the first few sectors of the racetrack to be able to close in with Greg Olson to avoid the dirty air. So that's probably what Paul Ilbrich might have in mind. We're now with Christopher Urbino once again. He is in 8th and he is defending very. Oh, and that's a contact, and that sends, I believe, Dennis Furkheim out of contention, and this is him. He's lost one position, and we have a look at the replay to see exactly how this happened. So they're going top speed down the backstretch, going into the braking zone. So Oliver Koka tried to go along the inside a little bit, tapped the rear wing of Furkheim as they approached the corner, and that was enough to send Furkheim out into wide.
Yeah, that is quite a narrow corner as well, and it's a hit and miss corner for some drivers to nail, and sometimes if you get it wrong and just brake maybe a little bit too late, then that's maybe when incidents happen, and sometimes going too wide may not be the best situation for the car, just depending where you are too. So what a shame there. Another driver then that is going to probably go in to the pits, but we got Dennis, who's having an interesting fight with Ladig for 12th position. Ladig looking very, very racy with Dennis Cornu at this moment in time. Liking the liveries, by the way, that Ladig has got this week, of course, but looks like Cornu has actually got the move done. Yes, he has. Up into 12th position ahead of Ladig now. So now we're going to be heading towards the back straight, heading towards the hairpin of turn 10. I think Ladig will probably go for another retry, as it were, I think, because it's not going to be over for Ladig. I know he's a racer at heart, and he doesn't want Cornu to get the move that easy. So down this back straight, we'll see if he's using his DRS. I don't think he is, but he's going to go for a move anyway. Nope, he doesn't. The door gets closed on him, and I think that's a sensible thing to do, just to back off a little bit before incidents happen. It's going to be very, very close. He's actually going to go for the move, heading towards turn 1. Cornu defends the right-hand side. We've got Ladig going into the left, and my, oh my, this is a great battle between these two drivers, heading towards turn 2 and 3 now. Ladig absolutely superb from Australia. Jaden now back up into 12th position, and I think this battle is going to be going on for the rest of this race, and I can't wait to see it. And he's looking quite comfortable right now, and look at this, Paul Ilbrink not that far from Greg Olson in terms of lap time at the moment. 2 tenths quicker in lap 18, but Greg Olson was pushing just a little bit more on lap 19, but is he? I thought he was slowing down for a minute there, but it was just the camera. I was a bit confused there at the moment. But Tim Delisle setting the fastest lap of the race so far. 1:23.111, a few times quicker than James Pinsker, who also set a personal best that lap as well. So Tim Delisle definitely showing why he is the king of Montreal right now.
Most certainly. So he's going to continue his domination as his countryman fights hard in third. Of course, possibly, with the possible presence of Paul Ilbrink battling for third position. So he is definitely anticipating that. But of course, Paul Ilbrink has his own battle to take care of because he is still under pressure from Barreto. That's not going to go away anytime soon. So we will see how this pans out over the next couple of moments. Greg Olson, Paul Ilbrink, Barreto taking the curbs there on a chicane that looks like the final chicane but isn't as they approach the final hairpin. This is where Greg Olson makes his move, or rather this is where Barreto might be able to gain a bit of ground on Ilbrink as they move to the backstretch. So it is full speed ahead once again for these guys. Now, of course, Greg Olson leading in front might send a bit of dirty air over to Paul Ilbrink, but Paul still leads Barreto over this final sector. Let's see how he takes the final corner. Does it very smoothly, and he will continue for the time being remaining ahead of Barreto.
Yeah, just about, and I think the more they keep battling, Greg Olson will probably breathe a sigh of relief there that these two are battling like that. He'll probably just be like, keep going, I'm happy with you battling. Oh, we got a spin, we got Yuki. Oh, we want to see a replay from that to see what happened. So I believe that's heading towards turn 3 and 4. I wonder if he just clipped the curb. Yeah, the curb caught him. Unfortunately, that was a spin that he did not want to have. And wow, how did that car there, how did Tim Delisle not crash there? Because that could have been a lot worse for Tim. But unfortunately, Yuki is a lap down now.
Yeah, I think that's just an unfortunate end to Yuki's attempt to go for a good race tonight. But of course, very, very good job by him all race long indeed. So we're back with Tim Delisle once again. He's still leading the race. That's definitely not going to change. 4 seconds ahead of James Pinsker, so that is a bit of a change. I think he was 6 seconds ahead just a few laps earlier, so that we might be able to see something happening. So Tim Delisle's last time by was a 1:23.40, which is 0.05 of a second ahead, faster than James Pinsker. Of course, just last time by, James Pinsker made a slightly faster lap time than Tim Delisle, so this might indicate a bit of a shift in pace, possibly. So, of course, Delisle's job is to hold on to his position at this point and to maintain his pace as best as possible.
Yeah, exactly, and I think consistency is really helping Tim Delisle right now as well. And there's some drivers that's just losing a little bit of time to each other, and I think that's allowing the gap to close just a little bit. And 33 minutes down, 7 minutes to go of this race. Not that long actually until the end, and a few more laps to go. These next few laps can make or break certain drivers. And we're just looking at the gap between Greg and Paul Ilbrink now. I think around about 1.5 seconds. So it's going to be tight, I have to say, for Paul to keep P4 from Benjamin Barreto. But, you know, Benjamin could see. Oh, Benjamin may have a look now actually to turn 10. Paul doing a great job defending now on the hairpin. It's not easy to defend there when someone tries to send it up your inside. But look at this, Benjamin looking very, very racy right now. And I think he's going to have the edge. No, he does not. Paul having much better defensive moves this race so far. And he stays in at P4. But can Benjamin go for a lunge into turn 1? No. With a dirty air, Paul pulls away. And there's a spin from Cedric, who is now down in 13th position. So let's see what's happened here with Cedric. Is it another clip of the curb? Oh, and I think that was a few other cars. I think it was Dennis Corner that almost got caught up in Lanik. So that is probably the end to Cedric's race, but I don't think that's any damage that he's got there. So at least he's able to carry on nonetheless and continue this race with just under, well, almost 2 laps to go of this race. And I wonder if Benjamin is going to start pushing with his fuel now. Is he going to go for it or is he not? Let's hope that the risk that he does make pays off with the likes of Paul Ilbrink. And Paul Ilbrink's closing up the gap a bit to Greg Olson as well. So this could be an interesting fight on our hands as well. Let us know in the chat on Twitch or YouTube who you think's going to win this fight for P4 and potentially the podium as well, if either one of those cars can start closing in into this interesting fight. And Tim Delisle once again setting the fastest lap of the race, 122.910. So yeah, definitely a good lap from him, and more drivers starting to get into the 123s as the race starts to come to a close very, very shortly, and we're on the penultimate lap.
So I think we will have white flag in the next couple of moments, and this is going to be crunch time, especially for Benjamin Barreto if he wants to go for a last-ditch attempt for P4, which could still well be possible. I think there is still a possible margin of time for him to make a move as he takes the few chicanes here. So we're now having a different perspective of this battle. This is onboard Paul Ilbrink's gearbox as we have a look at the racing line that each car takes. This looks to be Dennis Furkheim, who's made a mistake. And let's have a look at the replay. So this is him going along the entry of that chicane. He takes the chicane just nicely, but I think he clipped the inner apex and that sent him around, and the other driver managed to avoid him by quite a fair margin, so that was a close call. This is the incident on board from Oliver Koka, and we see how this kind of emerged. So certainly, you don't want to see a car go horizontal in front of you. That happened to Koka, but he was able to avoid that.
Yeah, I think some of the drivers who are in this top split, I think they're used to it by now with the incidents like that and are able to avoid that. And the white flag has been shown, so we are on the final lap of this race, and we've got an interesting battle between I think it's Vasilev and Christoph Herbie now for 6th position, and Christoph gets the move done there, and he is up into P6. He's not going to get a P5, but I'm sure he'll be happy with P6 nonetheless then. And I'm sure it's going to be an interesting fight to the finish. What about the battle for P4 then? Is Benjamin going to close up enough to get that P4 away from Paul Ilbrink? It's going to be very, very tricky, but I'm sure Benjamin is going to love this challenge, because even though it's not for a podium, it's still for great positions. But we've got our race leader who has been dominating all race long, but here comes Benjamin into turn 10. It's going to be a side-by-side action by the looks of things. Benjamin is saving it all to the final few moments of this race. And here comes Tim Delisle, comes across the line, and he takes his first win in Formula 1 3.5 this season. Pinsker comes across the line in second. Greg will take third, most likely, but he will take 4th place. It's Benjamin Barto. I think he got the move done. He got the move done in the final corner. My oh my. Oh, that gap was insanely close to Benjamin and Paul Ilbrink. Ilbrink so close once again, but Benjamin was just saving it all until the last moment. Pavel in 7th. Oliver managed to get 8th in the end. Tom Wedgwood comes across the line in 9th position. And we've got Jaden as well, who was having a great battle earlier, who will be coming across the line in 10th position. And we've got Fairtime, who had a spin, sadly. They're all going to come home in a decent 11th. And we've got Dennis and Finzak in 12th and 13th. And then we've got Philip Prechnader, who will be the last person to cross the line, who is on the lead lap.
So brilliant race for most of the drivers. I think unfortunate moments for some as well due to the various incidents that happened. So as we go over the race results, it is Tim Delisle who takes the win here at the 4th round of the Formula Renault 3.5 series. And James Pinsker, we did try to bet on him to take the race win, but unfortunately he came home second, so he wasn't able to repeat the win from last week. Greg Olson comes home in 3rd. And Benjamin Barreto, last-minute attempt that was very successful against Paul Ilbrink, who finished 5th. Christoph Albino 6th. Pavel Vasilev in 7th. Oliver Korka in 8th. He very narrowly avoided an incident during the last lap. Tom Wedgwood in 9th. Jaden Atlantic comes home in 10th. Got the other drivers: Dennis Furkheim, Dennis Cornu, Cedric Vinsek, Philip Presnader, Yuki Shirakawa, Matthias Otarola, Philip Schiff, and Robert Talton from positions 11th through to 18th. And these drivers round out your participants here on round 4.
We have our 3 podium sitters waiting in the interview area to be interviewed. So I think we're going to be starting to interview them. I'm trying to think who we should interview first. I think we should get our race winner in interview box first. His first ever race win this season, Tim Delisle. So let's see if I could drag him into the commentary booth. There we go. That's what a treat. So congratulations, Tim, on your race victory today and your pole position lap as well. Were you expecting that?
I really didn't know, to be honest. This used to be my home car, and I just felt so confident in it. And after taking a break, I've had no confidence whatsoever. I've had races where I'll get in a good qualifying lap and take pole, and then the race pace just isn't there, and I get swamped. So, yeah, wasn't sure what was going to happen coming into this race. But yeah, like the first few laps, James was sticking to me like glue, and I was just driving scared. The way I for the past few months, like just not having confidence in myself, and like 4 or 5 laps in, I knew I was using up DRS, and if James just kept getting that slipstream, he'd have me. So I decided if I was going to win the race, I'd have to just send it, and yeah, it just went perfectly from there. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and I feel that in the most important thing I think around Canada is definitely that qualifying position. Talk us through your qualifying lap, because it seemed like that you had it all under control from the get-go to take that pole position.
Kind of. The conditions were really quick. Most of my practice I'd been doing in sort of bad conditions just to prepare for the worst. So when I got in the session, it was like, okay, track's going to be quick, but you're not sure how far you can push it. And so the first lap I actually left a bit on the table. There was probably about a 1/10 and a half in it, mainly through sort of turn 1 and 2 and then the final chicane. But it turns out maybe that, just smooth is slow, slow is fast, whatever that saying is. That was enough. The second lap I overdrove a bit and tried to make it all up at the last corner, which didn't work out. But yeah, it was enough. And so I'm happy.
Yeah, and we did not see you much during the race because obviously you were dominating quite a lot as well. So congratulations on the win your end as well. Monza next week, is it going to be plain sailing for you to possibly get another victory, or do you think you probably have to work harder? Because turn 1 is definitely another tight one.
I'm not sure. At this stage, I'm undecided if I'm going to do it or not. Last season, that was my sort of comeback race at Monza, and I got pole there, and turn 1 happened as it usually does, but I was like the one person who got through unscathed, and then my game crashed right before Ascari, so it's a bit of a sore spot there. It's always a risky one to race because I'm not really in championship contention. I don't know if I'll take that risk or not, but yeah, maybe you'll see me there, and if you do, I hope it's another race like this, but yeah, I wouldn't count on.
We hope that you don't get bombarded into turn 1 like you did in the last few seasons then. Before we interview P2, is there any shout outs you want to give for the stream?
Yeah, Positive Sim Racing. We've been a bit quiet lately, but the team came together, last week and this week, came to a really good setup. So yeah, just a collaborative effort with Greg and Javier. So thanks to them. Thanks to Amy, my girlfriend, who has to deal with me when things don't go right, and that seems to have been every race lately. So yeah, she's grateful for that. And yeah, thanks to you guys for the coverage.
You're welcome. A massive congratulations for the win today. A 4th different race winner this season. Well done. I'll let you go and celebrate. Right then, so that was Tim Dalal there, your race winner in Montreal. And now I'll hand over to Chan, who's going to be interviewing our 2nd place on the podium, James Pinsker. Over to you, Chan.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, James. Welcome to the Apex commentary booth. So, great job coming home in 2nd place. Certainly it was quite a tricky race today with this unique racetrack, a little bit different from, I suppose, the first 3 racetracks. So, could you share with us the race from your perspective? Including the incident that happened, as we're looking at the replay now, an incident that happened right from the start, and how you managed to hold off everyone else throughout the race.
Oh well. Yeah, I mean, congrats to Tim. He's back in the series and back on the top step. I think 2nd was the best I was going to get today, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, off the start, I felt kind of guilty at the time because I thought, I saw that Talton behind gets his rocket start with the clutch, and he was going for a gap, and then I felt like I deviated left a tiny bit. But then looking back, it was nothing really. I was just kind of unlucky with those guys, the way the track curved right. Schiff went to take a more natural line and then didn't recognize that Tarleton would try and go between the middle, and then both of those guys were out, which was a shame. But then the race from there for me was quite simple, I guess. I was trying to stick in the slipstream with Tim because obviously at Montreal, the slipstream in this car is worth quite a lot. And then I just made a mistake at the chicane and lost about half a second, and that was the difference. He broke the slipstream from there and then just drove off. He was really quick, and I just didn't really have an answer. But tough track this, but I'm very happy with the 2nd place again. I know I won last week, but apart from that, it was 4 2nd places in a row, and now here's another one to add to the collection. But I'm really happy for Tim because obviously 5-time series champion, was just getting back into it. He's had a couple of tough races, including one where I crashed into him actually. Whoops. But yeah, he's back on the top step and with absolute flair as well. He was really quick today, and I'm very happy for him.
Oh, certainly. So, moving forward to next week, we're going to, I believe, Monza, which I think in some ways is quite a similar track if you compare certain aspects of Monza to Montreal. But of course, bar the fact that you do have quite a lot of runoff over at Monza. So, what are your thoughts entering the race next week?
Oh yeah, well, they do drive quite differently, and that's because at Montreal we can run the high downforce wings, but at Monza obviously you have to run the medium downforce. And I know it doesn't sound like much, but it is a really big difference the way they drive. It's definitely tougher to hustle this thing on the medium. So it'll be a tough time, but it's going to be refreshing that the walls aren't everywhere, because that's the big challenge. The big challenge at this track, I went into a wall here 2 seasons ago. Plenty of people went in the wall at this track in the past. It's really tough in this car to deal with the curbs and then having the threat of the walls everywhere. But so at Monza, it's a lot more open, but obviously you've got the challenges of the curbs and the challenges of the slipstream. The slipstream is going to be a big deal to overcome. So should have, for you guys at least, a very exciting race, because there'll be a lot of drafting and a lot of passes. But for us, it's quite stressful. Obviously, if you have a train of cars to deal with, that's the toughest situation to be in. But, the way the start went today, it kind of meant that, from my perspective, I didn't really have much to worry about that. I mean, and obviously the guys behind, I feel like maybe Paul Ilbrink and Herbino and some guys that started near the back had a quite good pace. And obviously Talton and Schiff as well went off in the wall off the start. But obviously those guys were just too far back and wouldn't sit in my slipstream, and thus for me, I didn't really have to deal with that today. But I'm sure next week, obviously, I'm sure you guys are going to be seeing a lot of draft passes and draft battles, and you can have fun with that.
We're gonna have a repeat of Road America then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe more. I mean, It's a bit different because Road America's high downforce, Monza medium downforce. You know, the DRS on medium does like pretty much nothing, and the slipstream's less powerful as well. So you know, you get a decent balance, but yeah, we'll see.
That's great to hear. Before we do let you go, any sponsors that you'd like to thank or give a shout out to?
Don't have any sponsors, don't have a team, but I'd like to thank Apex Racing TV for providing the broadcast. I'd like to give commiserations to young Philip Schiff. He had a really good quali pace. I mean, that came out of nowhere, and he for sure could have been on the podium today if it weren't for that crash, and I feel sorry for him. And Talton as well involved in that, and also my mate Philip Preschneider and Jaden Ladich. Again, those guys are really quick and just getting into the car, but you know, they get some bad luck today. Congrats to Greg on the podium, and congrats to Tim on his comeback win. I'm really happy for him. And yeah, cheers guys.
Thank you so much, James. So that was James Pinsker, came home second here at Montreal, and I do believe we are going to have Greg Olson, who will be with Jessica.
Greg, congratulations on your podium position. You saw the likes of Paul and Benjamin catching up behind you. Were you worried that you were just going to miss out, or did you have that under control?
Thank you, Jessica. No, I was pretty worried. I know Paul doesn't practice very much, so I was expecting him to get quicker and quicker as the race went on. He got used to the track, but no, I was pushing as hard as I could and really trying to minimize the mistakes. And it might have looked straightforward, but it was really tough race.
Yeah, I saw that you had a good start as well, and you avoided the incident that was happening as well. Tell us how the start looked from your perspective.
I got a pretty average start. I've been trying the fancy double clutch method, and it kind of worked all right, I guess. But yeah, I saw Robert Tarleton and Philip Schiff get into an incident together. So yeah, that was lucky for me, and I just tried to stay out of trouble on the outside. Pavel gave me a lot of racing room, and from there it was just a matter of trying to build a gap to Pavel. So I used a bit of DRS and then kept a few spare for the end of the race. So yeah, the start of the race went perfectly for me. I couldn't have asked for a better one.
Yeah, exactly, especially with these conditions, I have to say as well. And was this a track in your mind that you were going to get a podium, or were there any other tracks that you probably would have been more confident at? Because it looked like you were in your stride for pretty much the whole of that race.
I'm not sure, to be honest. It's been a while. I haven't done too many races in the 3.5 lately, but Montreal isn't one of my stronger tracks. It's definitely one of Tim's favourites, so I knew I could count on Tim to go for the win. But no, for me, I was very nervous at the start of this race. You really need to have a solid brake pedal around Montreal. The braking's really tricky, and it was a bit shaky at the start. So yeah, look, I'm really happy to get a podium here. It's it went really well.
Yeah, it's been a while since we saw you and Tim Delisle on the podium together, so it's great to see that again. So two Aussies on the podium as well, so I'm sure you'll both be very happy with that. Monza next week, a similar type of track as we've discussed with the others. Is that a track that you are comfortable with, or do you think that you will have to work to get your potential back in the podium? What are your thoughts on the track?
Yeah, it's very similar to this track, so therefore it's not really one of my strongest. I don't go too well at these tracks with really heavy braking zones and really tricky ones, but we're really strong there, typically speaking. But everyone else has gotten so strong since Tim and I have kind of been absent doing the IRO1 stuff, so we'll really have our work cut out trying to get a good result. And yeah, Monza turn 1 always makes me nervous. So anyway, we'll see how it goes next week, but it's put on some great races in the past, so I'm looking forward to it.
If anybody is not nervous in Turn 1 Monza next week, then I don't know who will be nervous, to be honest. So best of luck next week. And before we wrap up the stream, is there any shout-outs you want to give to the stream, Greg?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the team, Positive Sim Racing. Tim and Javier both did a great job working on the set this week. Congratulations to Tim. It's great. It's been long overdue return to form, so congrats on the win. And well done to James on the podium. And yeah, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and thanks to the 3.5 community. While we've been absent, Ed's really stepped up and taken care of things and got the fundraising sorted and all that. So thanks to everyone who donated and kept it going in our absence. It's the best karting community on iRacing.
Yeah, and it's great to have you back. Congratulations on a fantastic podium, and best of luck next week in Monza.
Thank you.
So that was your podium interviews for today. Tim Delisle finishing in P1, James Pinsker finishing in P2, Greg Olson finishing in P3. And that was a very good race. In particular, the battle for P4 on the track. I have to say that was one of my highlights as well. But battles everywhere, I have to say. But Tim Delisle was definitely the star of the show, I think, Chan.
Oh, I think he most certainly was. He just kind of dominated the race all race long, and there was nobody who was really close enough to give him a hard time, so to speak. But of course, I think really, I think credit would also go to various other drivers such as Benjamin and Paul, as well as various others, for the many battles that they've done throughout the race, because those are kind of also what makes this whole race very much more interesting. So I think all in all, it was a very exciting race from start to finish throughout the field as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Monza next week. Definitely places where you can go right and places where you can go wrong as well. So make sure you join us next week on that one. Before we go, we'd just like to have a quick mention of our sponsors. We got Virtual Racing School, where you can improve your on-track performance with data packs, setups, track guides, data analysis software, and some one-on-one coaching with some drivers. We also have another sponsor, SDK Gaming, which provide our live timing overlays, and you can add the virtual live HUD to iRacing, which shows timing towers on your streams when you do races as well. You can also broadcast your league and series, sync your commentary team cameras, just like we are doing right now as well. Don't forget, there is a 14-day free trial if you want to try it out for yourself. We highly do recommend it if you want to broadcast your league. And we also have Apex Racing Academy that also provide data packs, setups, track guides, and is also integrated with Virtual Racing School as well. And also weekly group coaching sessions for any drivers that want to get a grasp at the track that we are racing in that particular week as well. And don't forget, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, hit that notification bell, and also like the stream for more streams coming up. Twitch, you can follow us, twitch.tv/Apex Racing TV, and also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All those usernames are just Apex Racing TV. So that is it then for Formula Renault 3.5 this evening. More streams tomorrow with Weekend Warriors tomorrow. I can't remember where they are exactly, but make sure you check it out. But for myself, Jessica Ball, and Chan Weihan in the commentary box, and Marco on the cameras, we will see you next time, same time at 9:45 GMT for the Monza Italian Grand Prix in the Formula Renault 3.5. Have a good rest of your evening if you have one, or morning or afternoon, whatever time zone you are from. We will see you next week in Monza. Goodbye.